The clickers, I think, are really instrumental for giving us real-time feedback on if we ask a question that we think is pretty simple and most of the students are getting wrong, we can adapt in real time and say, okay, I need to step back, let's spend some more time discussing this topic and making sure that everybody's on the same page. Online homeworks, same sort of thing, where we're able to see how well students are understanding the material and adapt or change our what's happening in the course as a result. So I think all of these different pieces together are really enhancing our ability to assess in real time what's happening.
I try to make up test questions that create hypothetical scenarios that are very real world. In other words, places where they might be expected to use this information once they graduate and move on into a job setting. And so instead of just saying, which of the following is a symptom of Alzheimer's disease, I might say something like, you are a neurologist and an older woman comes into your practice thinking that she might have Alzheimer's disease. She describes several symptoms to you. Which of the following symptoms might be associated with Alzheimer's disease and make you likely to diagnose her as having it? And so again, it's the same basic question, but put in a framework that makes it seem like this is information that they should know and potentially would need to know. And I've gotten very positive feedback on that. I think the students like being exposed to practical information as opposed to simply theoretical stuff that they learn in a classroom. And so that's kind of the one big way that my assessment might differ from someone else's.
Then what I will often do when I'm grading is keep my comments fairly short and my edits to the text fairly short, and then say to students, look, if you want to sit down and have a half-hour discussion about this, I'm delighted to do so. But it's far better that I focus my attention on those students who want that feedback rather than trying to devote 20 minutes or half an hour to every exam, because you never get anywhere. I think honestly doing assessments, you just have to have a lot of strong coffee and just take the time to do it in a big course. Smaller courses, things are very different, but in a big course, ultimately I think there's only so much you can do in that regard. The one thing that I would say is that I wouldn't ever use multiple choice tests because I don't think that they can adequately be used to test knowledge and argument and the skills of being a historian in the classroom. I think you do have to have argument and you have to have responses that use evidence to questions.
Like I said, for a class like biological psychology, sometimes it's hard for them to think, well, how would I need to know this? Why would I need to know this? And so forth. And so any way I can use to make it more obvious to them that this is practical information, this is valuable information, I think it helps make that connection. More and more, I think professors and instructors at colleges need to be sensitive to how students are going to take this information out into the world. And that's becoming a big issue. People are questioning the practicality of going to college on some level because it's expensive, I'm not learning stuff that I'm going to need in the real world, and I really think that any tiny thing that we can do to increase the perceived value of this knowledge, I think is going to be very helpful.